This is Brian Q from over at brianqblog.wordpress.com. This is the weekly rundown, a weekly recap of all the articles that I've listed over at brianqblog.wordpress.com. Check that place out for the articles. Check that place out for the videos like this one, Game Time, Lucha Lowdown. New to the scene is a box office report, and I will be adding some production, little freeze frame stuff, some intros as the site goes on. But anyway, this is a weekly rundown. This is what you want. This is what you came to see. And if you listened to the video that I did last week, you'll know that this is becoming much more of a opinion-based column, much more of a, I guess, reporting on what I want to report, not necessarily just going through Yahoo or Google and picking out the news that I want to report on. It's just more stuff that I think I would like, that way you would like. So if you're a fan of the videos, you're a fan of the article, you're a fan of the site, you're going to be a fan of what I need to post and what I want to post. And it's going to be much more about my opinion, my take on things, rather than just spewing out the facts. Not saying that that won't be there. Again, I want to be a journalist, and that's what I want to do, so the facts are what the facts are. Opinions come in the videos, opinions come in the form of my own little column piece, but the facts will still be the facts, and they will still be reported on, like I should. Anyway, the weekly rundown, weekly recap of the articles that I've written over at brianqblog.wordpress.com. I keep pointing as if something should be there. I'll learn one day how to put stuff there, but for right now, just link in the description, all good stuff like that. Anyway, first article I've got is that The Last of Us Remastered, which comes out next Tuesday. I'm amped. You should be amped. If you haven't played it, what's wrong with you? Go get a PS4. Even get a PS3 if you have to. The remastered's on the PS4. It comes with the DLC Left Behind. It comes with some multiplayer maps that have been really fun. And if you haven't played the multiplayer, I highly suggest you try it out. It's very, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but it is a very fun, very different kind of take on multiplayer, especially like the whole team deathmatch kind of thing. I dig it a lot. I really feel the vibe on it. And yeah, again, remastered. Go get it. Go cop it. But if you go check out the article at brianqblog.wordpress.com, you'll see what you need to have ready for the game. So in terms of software, how many gigabytes you need when the game comes out, if you're kind of lacking on software space, which is a big problem right now because the PS4, 500 gigs, a lot of people are using that stuff up. My recommendation, get rid of your old games. You're not playing them. And plus, you can play them later. Play The Last of Us first. Best game out right now. Get it. That's the news portion of the column, I guess, of the brianqblog.wordpress.com movement. The next two articles I had were reviews for Hercules and The Purge Anarchy. Both films that I think are good summer movies, right? The Purge, I say, is better out of the two. And I'm a big fan of The Rock. I'm a big fan of Dwayne Johnson, WWE. I do the Lucha Lowdown. I dig it. But I'm not going to spoil much here. It's just that in Hercules, the trailers led us to believe that he's going to be fighting larger-than-life creatures. We saw the lion, we saw the Hydra, and in the movie, this isn't a spoiler, it's right off the bat, these are all just stories. These are all just fables that Hercules has of himself. He has his cousin kind of just spew these stories out so that when Hercules comes finally to face you, you are so scared of the legend, you have the legend in your mind of him defeating the Nemean lion, to him defeating this nine-headed Hydra, that the man himself is almost too much, that the myth, the legend himself is too much for you and you're already beat. But unfortunately, that idea, if you're going to go with it, Brett Ratner, and I know you're watching, stick to it. Hercules in the film is super strong. The dude lifts a horse up with one hand. So why does he need these myths about him when he truly is this super strong demigod-like man? It didn't make sense to me. It didn't really gel with me, and it leads to a lot of plot holes and inconsistencies in the film. I think, now I've never read the graphic novel that's based on this retelling of Hercules. I'm just a big fan of the mythological version, but I've seen the graphic novel version, the Marvel version, which is what this film is taking base out of, and I don't know too much, but I understand that there's still mythological beasts in that universe, so it kind of throws me for a loop. I feel that if they could have made Hercules not as strong, right? If he was just a very big guy, strong dude, but strong enough that, human-like strength, not necessarily godlike strength, it would have lent itself a little better. And if the trailers weren't to have sold the idea that we're going to be watching these like God of War like scenes, maybe it would have been better. It just felt like the movie tried to go have its cake and eat it too kind of thing, where Hercules is super strong, but everything else is not on par with him. So we're not really scared of anything. That audience has no pressure towards Hercules. He can destroy anything he wants. My qualms with the movie are much more fleshed out in the review. So go over at brianqblog.wordpress.com, check it out, see if you agree, see if you don't. If you've seen the movie, tell me if you like it, tell me if you don't. I would love to hear your feedback. Anyway, that's Hercules. Now moving over to The Purge Anarchy, which I dug very, very much. I really dug it. A lot of reviews are going about it saying that it's a very political thriller. It's very heavy-handed with its feelings on towards the 1% versus the 99% versus the whole gun thing and whatnot. And honestly, I dug the movie for what it was. And yes, that whole political message is in it. It's very at the forefront and very at the back end. But I think the way director DeMarco, I think it's DeMonico. I have it on the article. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, director DeMonico. That's his last name. He balances out pretty well. It's at the start, it's at the end, and it's in the behind. This whole political message, how the rich are trying to kill the poor, trying to trim the fat, I think is what they say in the film, of the United States, of the country. And it's there, but the movie isn't based on that. The movie at the center of it, at its core, is a man on a revenge mission who is going through on one night and encounters 4 unlucky people out on this purge night where you can do whatever you want, murder, steal things, whatever, and there's no consequences. So he chooses this one night to exact his revenge. And then on his way there, he encounters 4 people who just happen to be on the street, who don't want to take part in the purge, who are about to, in bad circumstances, and he saves them. And now that's the movie. But behind it is this whole political thing, how the guns should be illegal and all that stuff, and the amendment of the Second Right, or the First Amendment, or whatever, the right to bear arms. I forget which one it is. But that's the whole thing in the movie, and that's what a lot of reviewers are kind of keening on. When I saw it, I didn't necessarily feel that way. I saw a man in his revenge film. I dug that part very, very much. And I think the movie has a very Death Wish vibe to it, where the streets are all sort of sanctioned off. Like every street in the city, or every couple blocks in the city, is owned by another gang or a group of psychos or different personality or character, which lent itself very well to this type of film. And it gave it sort of a comic booky, graphic novel vibe that wouldn't be uncommon to read in like something out of Frank Miller, or even Mark Miller. I mean, not Frank Miller. Something out of Mark Miller or Grant Morrison, something like that. It felt very much like that. So I dug the hell out of The Purge Anarchy, and I really dig it. I really want to see where this series goes next. I want to see what happens. We've seen the house, we've seen the city. I want to see the country. I want to have different stories from different states in the country, and then what's going on in the purge. What happens down in Florida, because they get crazy on the regular. What happens out in Maine, I'm sorry. What happens out in Maine? What happens out in California? What happens out in Chicago? What happens? It's in March, so it's got to be cold somewhere. What happens in Alaska? What happens in Hawaii? I want to see what happens with this purge. So I'm very excited. I would love to see a Purge 3. Wasn't a big fan of the first one, big fan of the second one. We'll see what the third one happens. Anyway, that has been my weekly rundown, guys. Again, I choose 3 articles because I don't want these videos to get extra long. I feel like 9 minutes, even 10 pushing it sometimes, is the keen number of minutes to hold your attention. And I'm asking a lot of you already, going past 5, so I thank you so much for watching this. Go over to brianqblog.wordpress.com. Check it out for the articles. Check it out for the videos like this one. Stay tuned tomorrow for Game Time, where I tell you what's coming out in the world of gaming. And yeah, check it out. Take it easy, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for reading. Leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Link in the description if it's over there for mobile, down here for website. Check it out. Later.